Happy Friday, everyone. Right up top, the four main reasons that I chose to conceal carry is to protect myself, to protect my family, to be able to protect people around me out in the public. And honestly, I think one of the biggest reasons is for the unpredictable things, the situations that you don't think are going to happen or would never happen. It's really being ready and being prepared for those situations. I am not a gun fanatic by any stretch of the imagination. I don't have Second Amendment stickers on my vehicle. I don't advertise the fact everywhere I go that I carry a gun or that I believe in gun ownership, even though I do. There are a lot of reasons why I made the personal decision to carry, and I want to share some of those with you in case you're one of those people that have been considering getting a concealed carry permit, but you're on the fence as far as, whether you feel that it's safe to carry, and really just thinking about your own personal reasons. I'm going to share some of my reasons, and maybe that will help you go through your own list and think about whether you should get a concealed carry permit. So it's a good sign that you're here trying to work through making the decision if concealed carry is right for you. It means that you take this seriously. You know this is a deadly weapon. You know what it can do. You have a healthy respect for firearms. That's a really good place to start from, and that is a good sign that you will be a good and responsible concealed carry permit holder. These are not toys, obviously, and since growing up around guns, hunting my whole life, with a firearm, you always have to treat it like it's loaded, and people say that, but it's something you have to actually take seriously. If I take the clip out of this gun, the clip is out, and put it down, it's very easy to forget. I mean, you look at it and you say, okay, it's not a loaded gun, but unless you've taken the time to make sure that there isn't a bullet in the chamber, and even if you have, you may put it down and forget whether there's actually a bullet in here. I never even leave it to chance. I treat every gun, I never point it in a direction where there's people. I don't care. Right now you can see there's no bullet in the chamber, but I don't care. I will not point this at myself. I will not point this at other people. I won't even point it in the direction of another room where I know people are. I have seen situations where firearms have gone off and gone through walls. That's how much respect you have to have for these things, because accidents happen all the time. The fact that you are here and you're carefully considering whether or not you want to take on the responsibility of carrying a weapon is a very good sign. So let's get to the reasons why I choose to carry this 9mm on me at all times. I would say the number one reason, I think the number one reason most people would say they chose to conceal carry is to protect their family. And that's to protect my family in my home or out in the public, anywhere we are. I want to know that in any life or death situation that could mortally harm a member of my family, that I have the power in my hands to prevent that from happening. It's number one reason. You never know what can happen. You never know when your home could be potentially broken into. You never know when you're out and about in public and someone could walk into a business, a movie theater, a festival, wherever you are. These situations do happen, and most people think it'll never happen to me until it happens to them. Being prepared is not a bad thing, and being ready to protect your family is probably the number one reason most people decide to get a concealed carry permit. The main reason I originally went to a concealed carry class and decided to carry was because I was doing a lot of hiking in the woods, and that's my second reason. My second main reason for carrying a weapon is to keep myself safe in unsafe environments. So when I'm hiking, obviously I could come across a bear. There are wild dogs, whether they are wolves or coyotes or just a rabid dog. Probably people wouldn't believe it, but one of the more common animal attacks in the woods is by a dog. So having a weapon to protect yourself against an animal that decides to attack you and could go for your throat, or somehow mortally wound you, it's just a good idea. And I had had enough close encounters with wild animals in Maine and New Hampshire that I knew Once I came down here, I knew the population of black bears in Tennessee is actually higher than in New England, and there are other animals that can cause harm. So I decided to start to look into concealed carry permits. I've also come across, when I say unsafe conditions, that could be a bad part of town. I mean, that could be if you're walking through a city and you don't know it very well and you find yourself in a neighborhood that is very dangerous, higher likelihood of being mugged or whatever. Just having a weapon to protect you in a situation where someone is mortally threatening you, threatening your life, it's just common sense, and it's another layer of safety that you have to have. And there are situations in the woods, I would say probably the more likely scenario, the more likely thing you would need protection from in the woods isn't even animals, it's other people. I've heard people around here saying that while they were hiking or biking in remote areas, they've come across meth labs, and I will tell you that anyone running a meth lab out in the middle of nowhere will protect it. And they are unsavory characters. They are already criminals, and if it comes to hurting someone, even mortally hurting someone, they will, to protect the secrecy of what they're up to. So these are things that nobody wants to think about, but these things happen, and you have to be protected. So I have my concealed carry permit primarily for that reason. When I go out in areas that are remote and just potential dangers like that, I like to feel safe and protected. So that's another reason. If you do a lot of hiking, if you find yourself going in areas that could potentially be unsafe, it's probably a really good idea to have a concealed carry permit. By the way, if that is you and you are looking into getting a concealed carry permit for the sake of being safe in the woods against animals, I would say don't do what I did. Don't buy a 9mm. 9mm is probably the worst protection against bears, least likely to do harm. Do your research. Probably get a larger weapon. There's a lot of debate out there. I'm not even going to wade into that debate on what the best firearm is that you can conceal that will protect you against bears. I got this one as my first concealed carry weapon, and I know it's not very likely to do much damage. It will protect me against other people, against smaller animals. To increase the odds of protecting myself against larger animals, I did go with the buffalo bore ammunition, and this gun's rated for it. You don't want to be going target practice with these. Keep on, because you can degrade the weapon over time. But if it's to carry for a one or two shot protection, it's the best option. But I would probably get a larger gun if you're going in the woods, in the forest, and your concealed carry is for that purpose. Do your research and get a weapon that's correctly sized for that. The other thing to think about is the fact that if you live in a rural area, if your house is either far away from town, or you travel places that are far away from civilization or the authorities, you have to keep in mind that if something happens and you do have to call 911, in a life or death situation, 15 minutes can make the difference between life or death. And so having a weapon on you can sometimes be the thing that saves your life. If you have to wait for authorities to get there 15, 20, 30 minutes, if someone is attacking you or something is attacking you, to be completely frank, you will most likely not have 15 to 30 minutes to wait for someone to come save your life. So what the concealed carry permit gives you is the ability to carry protection on you for those rare scenarios, hopefully that will never happen, where you're too far from someone coming to save you, someone coming to help you and save your life. Being prepared is critical in those situations, and having a concealed carry permit and having a firearm on you is the way to be prepared to neutralize any threat that may take your life or the life of your loved ones or the life of people who are around you. So that's really the third reason. Being far from the authorities, being far from someone that's able to come and help is one of the, I guess, the third reason why I chose to conceal carry. So honestly, if any of those things seem relevant to you, if you are in situations where you're far away from civilization at times, or you do go hiking, or you find yourself in environments that have a higher potential of you potentially being mugged or attacked in some way, then it may be a good decision to have a concealed carry permit and to have a firearm with you. While I am not an activist for the Second Amendment, I do believe that the Second Amendment is important and it gives you the right to carry. There are a lot of people out there who open carry for the very purpose of kind of making a point about the fact that they have the right to have a firearm on them. I am not a proponent of that, just because if you do take a concealed carry class and learn about different situations where you might need to use the weapon, if you ever have to, God forbid, those situations, if you open carry, if you have a sidearm on you that people can see, you're making a target of yourself. You're putting yourself in more danger than you need to, because most likely a criminal is going to go after the person who has a sidearm visible. They're going to want to neutralize you, and so you don't want to call attention to yourself, don't want to make them aware of the fact that you have a firearm. So I wouldn't say, especially if you live in one of the states where open carry is common and the concealed carry laws are a little more lax, you may be tempted to just, wear a sidearm in public, out in the open. Again, I would encourage not to do that for the fact that it does draw attention to you. But if you're truly carrying for the sake of safety and protecting people, protecting yourself and your loved ones, don't open carry. Conceal carry. If you need a permit in your state, go through the class. It's very simple. You do have to provide your fingerprints to the FBI, but I mean, people who should conceal carry should have no problem letting the FBI have their fingerprints on record, because you're not a criminal. Most concealed carry folks are law-abiding citizens. They're the people keeping people safe out there. And so, I had no problem giving my fingerprints to the FBI as part of the process. But the concealed carry classes are also fantastic for helping you think about situations where you may need to use your firearm, and just thinking through scenarios. It's always the last resort. You always want to not use it. If you're in a fight with someone, that's not a reason to pull your weapon. If you're being punched, it's not a reason. If they're pulling a deadly weapon on you and threatening your life, but every scenario you come across, you have to think about, is my life really in danger? Would witnesses here say my life is actually in danger? Most cases it's not, and you should not pull your weapon. So the classes are great for helping you identify those scenarios. One of the best videos I remember seeing in the class was someone walking out of a house and seeing a man holding down a woman on the ground. The first reaction would be he's attacking her and you need to protect her, and you want to draw your weapon and get him off of her. But the end of the video showed that she was actually having a psychotic break. He was trying to hold her down for her own protection and the protection of others. So when you walk in the middle of a situation, you don't always know the situation, and you want to always err on the side of caution. You never want to threaten or take someone's life. If there's any unknowns in your head, you should always opt to not use deadly force. A concealed carry weapon is always there as a very last resort that you never want to use, and you want to take every other option possible to not use that firearm. I hope this helped you go through the reasons in your own head why you may or may not want to go for a concealed carry permit, why you may want to carry. And if you do, I highly encourage you, even if your state doesn't require taking a concealed carry class, take one anyway. Learn more about the firearm. Even if you're really knowledgeable about firearms, you've shot your whole life, concealed carry is a whole different ballgame. It's not just going hunting. It's not using a firearm to kill an animal for food. It's being in different scenarios. You have to think differently about when and where and why you would use that weapon. And a concealed carry class is just such a fantastic resource. There's a lot out there. Every state they're available. The people who give it are knowledgeable and really helpful in helping you understand the responsibility you're taking on, the social responsibility that you're taking on when you decide to conceal carry. So if you do make that decision, you decide, yes, I want to do it, take the class. It's fantastic. It really help you understand all the different ways to stay safe and to think through properly handling and using a firearm. So hope this was helpful. Please subscribe if you found this video helpful. Happy to hear your thoughts in the comments below, and I will see you next time.